Hello boys and girls. Well, if you watch that short video, you can see how it's not that hard to make a hole in your wall. Well, believe it or not, that happened to me. And I didn't have anything to fix it right away, so I thought until I fixed it, I'd just cover it up so nobody would notice. So what I did was I measured how much space I need to make sure I covered it well. And the space was 5.5 inches wide and 4 1/3 inches high. And so I want to know how big, what would be the area of something that I would have to use to cover that up? Well, believe it or not, that's a multiplication problem. Especially if I wanted to paint it over. So, one way to solve this problem is to do 5.5 times 4 1/3. Now I'm going to show you two ways to do that. And you have to decide which one works best for you. One way is to use the area model. And I'm going to make my grid. And I'm going to divide it up into 5 1/2 and 4 1/3. So I would do 5 times 4, which we know is 20. Now I would have to do 4 times 1/2, which we know I have to change into 4 wholes times 1/2, which equals 4 halves, which equals 2. I would have to do 1/3 times 5, which we would make 5 over 1, and that would give me 5/3. And then I would do 1/3 times 1/2, and that would give me 1/6. Now, one of the things I see right away is that I have some numbers I can add up easily, but I also have two fractional pieces, two fractional numbers, one an improper fraction, one a unit fraction, that have different denominators. So I know for sure I'm going to add up my partial products. I've got 20 plus 2, and I know that's 22. But I've got to add 5/3 plus 1/6. So now I've got to find a common denominator. Well, what multiple do 3 and 6 both have in common? Well, 6. So 1/6, 5/3 would be the same as, if we remember, how do we change that? Let's do it here. 5/3, 5 times what is going to give me 6? 5 times 2. So 3 times 2 is 6, 5 times 2 is 10. So this will be 10/6 plus 1/6 is 11/6, which then we have to change into 6/6 is 1 whole, and we have 5/6 left over. And then we have to add these two together. 22 plus 1 5/6, which is going to equal 23 5/6. This is going to be square inches. Right? That's one way. A lot of steps, but it works. A second way would be, as we showed in other examples, change both of these into improper fractions. So 5 halves is the same as 10. 5 is the same as 10 halves. But that's 10 halves plus 1 is 11 halves, which you can also, if you get into the habit, 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11, times 4/3 would be 12, 4 would be 12/3, plus 1 more is 13/3, or we can simply say, well, 3 times 4 is 12, because there's 3/3 in every whole, plus 1 more is 13/3. Now we have to know a little bit about multiplication to do 11 times 13. But I knew 10 times 13 is 130, and one more 13 would be 143. Sixth. Then I have to do a little division. And if I do that division, and I'll do it very quickly here, it's 143 divided by 6. I can do it the standard algorithm way. I'm going to do partial quotient. Well, I know, I'm going to know at least 6 times 20 is 120, which leaves me 23. And I know 6 times 3 is 18, which gives me 5. I can't make any more groups of 6s, so my answer is 23 and 5 sixths. So both ways work, and the whole size I want to make sure I completely cover is 23 and 5/6 square inches. You can choose the way that you like best. Both work. In the end, this becomes more time efficient, especially since you already know how to divide. This involves a little more time, but we're not after fastest, we're after accurate. So, hopefully, my wife won't notice the hole until I've patched it with this piece and then paint it over. And it's going to take about 23 and 5/6 square inches of paint. 23 and 5/6 inches is what I've got to cover, square inches. So, till next time, remember, math is everywhere. Bye.